Hello everyone, this is a quick look at the LEGO Spider-Man and Green Goblin Mech Battle Set. I bought this for its retail price of $20 US, and you can find it tagged on the video through YouTube's shopping feature if you're interested in more. I'm going to start off with a look at the Green Goblin. One thing that's actually common to the two mechs in this set is that they're both 2022 designs, which means they've not been upgraded or potentially, depending on how you look at it, downgraded to the newer style of arms and legs. This still has two joints, 2 points of articulation in the arms themselves, plus the wrists, and then you also have usable knees down here. So it's able to get a lot more articulation than the later ones that, as of the time of the recording of this video, have been announced but not released as yet. You can see some of that in the Ninjago Evo line as well. But that also can potentially result in a little bit more stability issue for younger kids playing with this, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. I was actually surprised in playing around with this that even though this has the narrower feet, which I usually don't like, something about the center of gravity of it, I think it's just because of the large hands and how long the arms are, it's not quite as tippy as I would usually expect for having those narrower feet. So it actually is able to stand pretty well, and you got pretty good positioning of these joints. It does have the weird offset where one of the ball joints is in front of the other, the fixed system after the whole recall drama that was covered very heavily. You're not really able to see that strange offset once it's built. Really, honestly, doesn't bug me on this one. I think it bugged me a little bit more on the individual Marvel mechs that came out. But this is totally very, very posable. Now, this one here does have a stud shooter or tile shooter in each shoulder. So shoulder launchers there, and those work fine. But it is a little bit difficult to get them just to point exactly where you want. You kind of have to forget about the arm and the hand position. You do have to rotate the hand to get it to come up and down like this, but you kind of have to forget about that and just grab here and then point this wherever you want it to shoot. Now, it is nice to be able to shoot completely off axis like that, but you can't really get both of the shooters to fire off to one side. Also, this has no waist articulation, and I think waist articulation is a really nice thing to have, but the way that this is designed, I honestly don't think that most kids are going to need that. And this definitely is the whole set is completely aimed more towards a younger audience, not so much towards the teens and the adults, where, getting just the right pose for display is a lot more important than being able to just grab it and play with it. This is a nice printed piece. Right here, the quality of the print is pretty good, and it's really easy to get access to the figure. We'll look at the figures together in a minute. The Spider-Man mech has the same basic design to its skeleton, but the fringes are very different. I mean, you've got these extra legs here that are just providing some visual flair, basically, but kind of is trying to look like it has the soul of a spider in it, almost like it was transformed from a spider. It's trying, doesn't do the greatest job of that. This one does have the 2 stud wide feet, which definitely feel more secure here. I was surprised that the Goblin one didn't feel bad, but this definitely feels much more stable on its feet, and I don't have to worry so much about the angles. I can be way off to the side like that, and it's still completely stable, and it doesn't affect in a negative way being able to move the legs forward and backward relative to the body or anything. The arms on this one are weird though. You have some movement still, but this is long. It's really long. What's up with that? It does kind of limit things a bit, and then it's trying to be like feelers, I guess. This was really interesting. The use of the inverted clip, modified plate pieces with clips, and then putting black ice skates on there. It's nice to get 4 ice skates in the set. Technically 5 because there's a spare as well, but just it's difficult to. It's relatively difficult to play with this, I think, because what do you do with these? What do? You can slap things. You can push things out of the way. You can imagine slashing with them, I suppose. But otherwise, what? You can't grab with this. It just simply cannot grab it. It's not able to get all the way in. So that's definitely a miss in many ways. I think that on display, this looks a little bit weird. And I think for play, also, it's lacking. You just can't grab the other mech. You can't grab figure or something like that. Articulation is basically the same. Stability is fine, but you're missing some of the key basics here, I think. I think it goes together just fine. Adjustability of things is just fine, if not better than it needs to be. That's actually interesting right there. That range you can get towards the inside when you rotate this up. Even though this shoulder bit or upper arm bit is so bulky, you still can move this way in there because of the taper of the side. And here, that is a nice print for the chest once again. I appreciate prints like that. And I think it's a good one. Once again, you have easy access to the cockpit. Actually, this one doesn't open up quite as much, I think. Yeah, this part actually comes down a little bit farther. So it doesn't open up quite as much as the other one, but that's fine. You can still get these out easily. Both of these figures have a nice level of detail for the face prints and the torso prints, and Spidey gets the additional benefit of printed arms. However, these are those bad printed arms that I just really don't like because the red is too thin. It feels like they put down black and then put red on top of that. I originally thought that it was just the red on top of the blue underneath with a black outline, but I think they put down a full layer of black first, some places where I can see it splitting it just a bit, and then put the red on top of that, and it just doesn't look right. I mean, that arm should be a bright red. It should be the same red as the rest of the suit, but the rest of the print is fine. Of course, we could have used dual molded legs here at the very least. We do get an alternate face for Green Goblin. That one completely makes sense. I'm glad that this is still very evil looking, still has a lot of depth in the eyes like that. Yeah, that's a good setup. Finally, these are the leftover pieces, and that does include 2 intentionally included spares for the shooters for Green Goblin. The rest are just your usual leftovers. In all, this set is an okay send-off or a swan song for this generation of small mech design. I think that these mechs did just fine for what they were, and they were very inexpensive, but coming into 2023, the price of each individual one in the new sets is going up to $15, but they are refocusing a little bit more on easier assembly and easier play for the intended target market. This mech is definitely better to play with than I expected. Much better, much more stable. The hands work. The shooters are fine. They probably won't be used that much, but at the very least, I think that the position is good and they make it feel like you can shoot. You know, you do the pew pew as opposed to the actual load and click thing, and it works out just fine. This mech, definitely not as good as I was hoping, which is weird. Usually, if one of the two is going to be better, it's going to be the good guy thing, you know, in these versus sets. They'll put more emphasis on the design there, and there are more parts here, but it just, not being able to grab with the hands, come on. I'm fine with there being no web shooter or anything. The stability is fine, but the arms don't do it for me. They really don't. Speaking of arms not doing it, right here, still got issues with that. And hopefully we're not going to get that problem again in the future. Thank you very much for watching though. Hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more, and I'll talk to you again soon.